It's beginning of a new year, and what better way to start off a new year than coming up with a plan, a strategy to set goals and get those goals accomplished for the new year. A lot of people start off with New Year's resolutions. I'm not a big fan of those. I like to subscribe to the article of "This is my life, this is how I live," and the calendar just sort of supports me. I guess I don't try to say that, hey, it's just because it's a new year now I'm about to do something completely new, but at the same time it is a good tracking system, a measuring stick to see how you did. And so the purpose of today's meeting is to go through a system that I've used. I found it to be absolutely phenomenal when it comes to being able to set out plans and goals for a year and then be able to execute them. So if this has happened to anybody, just go ahead and put it in the chat. And also, if you're there on Facebook, feel free to put in the chat too. But if you have started off a year and you've got a plan about what you're going to do, what you're going to accomplish, how the next year is going to plan out for you, and then suddenly you find yourself halfway through the year and you have not accomplished nearly as much as what you thought you would. And then suddenly maybe you've gotten 3/4 of the way through a year, and suddenly you've even forgotten about what you initially said you were going to do. If that's happened to you, just go ahead and put something in the chat, like, yeah, that's me or something. Just leave a comment below. I know that that's happened to me on numerous occasions. And so what we're going to discuss here today is a way that you can prevent that from happening and the way that you can stay on track so that it does not happen in the future. Ron's like, yeah, happened for many years. So cool. I'm glad you tuned in today because we're going to change it today if you'll stick with me and follow the process. So before we get into this this magic that I've got going on, right? Because the title of this was how to get a year's worth of goals accomplished in 12 weeks. That's what we're going to talk about, how you can dramatically influence and change the amount of things you get accomplished in record speed. And following this process, we're going to show you how to do it. So we're going to chat all about that today. Let me go ahead and quickly share my screen for those who are new, who haven't been into the world of Jason Stubblefield. Welcome. Glad to have you here. For those who are returning, glad to see you again. If you are able to see my screen right now, you're looking at our website. That's snscapitalpartners.com. This is the website that you can find out more about me, more about my company, some of the investments that we made. I've been investing in apartment complexes since 2016, and this is a focus of mine. So if you want to find out more about us, see some of the investments that we've done, you can do so at SNS. That's like Sam, Nancy, Sam, capitalpartners.com. Also, if you're interested in investing with us, then you can also go over to the Invest tab. You have this Join Our Community page right here. You click on Join Now. That'll give you a brief form. You fill that out, and you can start to hear about the opportunities that we have, because buying apartments and closing apartments is part of our business, and hopefully that you can participate in that as well if it fits for you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about our subject matter of today. And first of all, let me just let me set out this disclaimer. This is not my original content right now. This is a system that I adapted and utilized. So it's called the 12-week year. Has anybody heard of that? If you have heard of the 12-week year, put that in the chat. Leave a comment to let me know who's familiar with this. I'm not seeing anything come through. So, all right. So you all are going to be 12-week year virgins. And I am going to expose you to something new today. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, what I'll do is bring up the resource for you. So I'm all about saving time and money when possible. And so if you aren't familiar with this, hopefully you can tune into this webinar today, listen to me for a few moments, and I can save you time on reading a whole book. But for those who want to get more details, you can pick up the book, and that book is here, right? So I'll also drop this in the chat. So 12-week year, you can find it on Amazon. The authors, Brian Moran and Michael Lennington, they did a great job about how you can avoid procrastination, how you can get more accomplished in 12 weeks than most people do in 12 months. And we're going to go through that process today. So just know this is not Jason Stubblefield original content. This is their content. I just utilize it and I want to share with you because it's that good. And I think that if you start off the year by implementing this, you will be in a great place. So let me go ahead and drop this link for those who want to make the purchase. I'll do it there. I'll also drop it in the Facebook. I have this book. It's a game changer. There you go, Candle. I'm I'm thinking that's right. Yeah, if I'm reading that right, that's Candle and not Candace. Well, thank you for tuning in today. So that's what we're going to be talking about, how you can leverage this book and how you can utilize it. So let's go ahead and hop into it. First of all, let's talk about why the traditional 52-week year does not always work. What you'll find is that you will you set out to accomplish some goals, and when you think that you have 12 months to get something accomplished, it just seems like a lifetime at times, right? And so it's easy to say, hey, let me push this back. I'll do it next week, or I'll do it next month, or I'll do it after the first quarter. And doing that is a recipe for disaster, but you not being able to get the things done that you really want to. So what this is a system. The 12-week year is a system by which you have clearly defined goals, while you have weekly check-ins, and it allows you to avoid procrastinating. So when you take a year and you boil that down into 12 weeks, now you've only got 3 months to get this year accomplished. And with 3 months, there's not any weeks to waste. That's the goal behind this, right? Is that you are able to condense your timeline on getting things accomplished so that it is so concise that you don't have any time to procrastinate, and it's able to it gives you the ability to stay on track as you go through the year to accomplish your goals. So how do you start this up? How do you set goals, right? First of all, you want those goals to be clear, and you want those goals to be smart. And so we're going to talk about how you can have smart and clear goals in the beginning. And so what I do is, you may start off just very broad, right? 30,000 foot view. Hey, where do I want to be a decade from now? Okay, how does that look? What I want my life to be in? And we can go into this in more detail, but I won't for right now. But basically, you can get to where you want to live, what you want to drive, how does your family look, what sort of impact are you having in the community? Not going to go into all that, but you can just have a general goal, outline of where you want to be in 10 years. Then in order to accomplish that, what do you need to accomplish in 3 years? Okay, if that's where you want to be in 3 years, what do you need to do in this year? And where we're going to focus the majority of this conversation is going to be on the 1 year, right? So just know that we have a bigger goal, but 1 year is what we're going to get to and accomplish and set goals for right now, so that you can now break that down. So if you're starting off and you say, I've got this yearly goal, well, what do I need to do to accomplish that yearly goal? And how can I break that yearly goal down into weeks? Okay. And so by doing that, you want to give yourself a 12-week window. And we actually, in this book, what it talks about is you cut the year off. You throw away the 52-week, 365-day goal. And the only thing that matters is this initial 12-week year. This is it. I'm having a year at the end of March. And so there's going to be a New Year's celebration or whatever you would do, pop champagne, toast, whatever, in 3 months instead of waiting for the whole 52-week year to happen. But by doing that, it allows you to condense that timeline so that you are able to stay focused. And so you want to set goals. And when you're setting goals, you want them to be SMART. SMART is an acronym, right? SMART. The S is for specific. You want your goals to be measurable. You want them to be achievable. You want them to be relevant, and you want them to be time bound. So let's talk about each one of those, right? What is a goal? Specific, right? So this is the apartment investing group. You may say, hey, I want to buy an apartment complex in 2023. I want to buy my first deal or my next deal or whatever it is. That is a terrible goal. Why? because it is not specific enough. You need to be saying things like, I want to purchase a 10 unit, or I want to purchase a 5+ unit that's under $800,000 in my target market, right? You see how those latter two goals are specific. We're not just saying, hey, I want to buy something, I want to own a piece of real estate. No, what is it? Where is it? How does it look? How much is it going to cost, right? So you want to be specific in your goals. You also want to be measurable, right? And so when I say measurable, a lot of times you can set goals, but there's no way to really track them, right? And so we'll just use this buying an apartment complex as our theme, our example, as I talk about this. So if you're going to say, hey, I want to buy an apartment complex, well, how do you measure that? It's really difficult. There are some books where you talk about leading and lagging indicators, and I'll try to briefly go through that. Also, if you're attending this and you have questions, right, put those questions in the chat. I want to make sure that I get your questions answered. I'll go through at the end of this and sort of wrap up anything. So if you got questions, any of this is unclear, just go ahead and stick it in the chat. We'll go back through and answer those questions. But back to something that's measurable. If you're saying I want to buy an apartment complex, well, how do you actually measure that? We talk about leading and lagging indicators. So buying an apartment complex, closing on an apartment complex is a lagging indicator. It's sort of like what happens after you do some things, right? And that's very hard to measure. What you can measure is the leading indicators, and leading indicators are what you have to do in order to be able to accomplish the lagging indicators. So what do you have to do? If you want to lose 10 pounds, you can say, I want to lose 10 pounds. So what are you going to do to make that happen? The losing of 10 pounds is your lagging indicator. The things that you have to do in order to lose 10 pounds are your leading indicators, right? So when buying an apartment complex, you can say, hey, I want to buy an apartment complex. That's a lagging indicator, but your leading indicator is going to be something like, hey, I'm making offers. I'm going to make one offer a week or 2 offers a month or something like that. And that your goal has to be measurable. So when you go out and you set my goal, I want to buy an apartment complex this year. How does that happen? How many offers are you going to have to make? And you say, hey, I want to make 2 offers a month. Or I want to make 4 offers a month, 1 offer a week, whatever that is. You want to have something that you can measure. So once you've done that, now you can check in with yourself every month or every week to see, am I on track or am I not on track? Right. Also, you want it to be achievable. So what I mean when you say something is achievable, I've heard people say this, hey, I want to buy a 200 unit apartment complex. Okay, great. Worthwhile goal, worth pursuing. But if you don't have any money of your own and you don't have a database of investors, right? How are you going to go out and buy a $20 million, $30 million piece of real estate if you don't have those, right? And so you want your goal to be achievable. Not saying that a 200 unit is not achievable. Obviously it is. But are you going to be able to do that in the next 30 days? Probably not. So what you would want to do is then to be able to boil your goal down into something you can achieve over the next 12 weeks. So maybe if I say I need to be able to raise, call it $5 million. Okay. Well, how much capital can I raise? Or how many investors can I put in my database in order to get that in the next 30 days? So you would come off of like, hey, I want to be able to raise $5 million this year. Okay, well, how much does that need to be in the next 12 weeks? And how many investors do I need in my database in order to hit that? That's where I talk about achievable, so that you're not doing something that's just far-fetched, pie in the sky somewhere. You actually want to break that goal down into something that you can accomplish over the next 90 days, 12 weeks, so you can have it done. All right, so hopefully that was clear. And then also you want your goal to be relevant. All right. And what do you mean by relevant? So you have a goal, and your goal may be buying an apartment complex. I've seen this happen so many times where people say, hey, I want to buy an apartment complex. I'm like, all right, well, what are you going to do? They say, well, I'm going to design my website. I want to establish a LLC, get a logo, get my business cards. You're doing all this stuff. But that doesn't necessarily help you buy an apartment complex. It's just stuff that you're doing, right? But it doesn't get you to your goal. And so I want to encourage you that you would go ahead and make sure that your your goals, what you're doing is relevant to what you want to accomplish, right? So you can outsource your website or your LLC. You can wait to form an LLC until you actually have an apartment complex under contract, right? You don't necessarily have to go do all those stuff. So when we say relevant goals, you need to be able to think about this in terms of, okay, what's going to help me get to the end goal? And if it's not going to help me get to the end goal of buying an apartment complex, then it is not necessarily relevant. And therefore, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, right? And then the last part of our acronym, which is SMART, is going to be time. When it comes to time, you want to make sure that you set a timeline on when this is happening. So you're not simply saying, hey, I'm going to buy an apartment complex. I'm buying an apartment complex by June of this year, July of this year. I'm not going to just say I'm going to analyze deals. I'm analyzing one deal a week or one deal a day or whatever it is, right? You just want to put a time. So that is SMART. You want specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals, right? And when you are establishing this, you don't want to have anything more than really 2 to 3 goals, right? So I like to have something that maybe is in business, maybe 2 goals, business related, and I may throw in a personal goal too. So what I'm doing right now is I'm avoiding sugar, right? So I'm not going to have any sugar for the next 40 or so days, right? That's something just personal related, but you don't want to load yourself up with too many goals over this 12 weeks so that you become overwhelmed. You want to keep it at just a handful. Even if you keep it to 1, the better, right? 1, 2, 3 at the max, right? So don't just go crazy with this and try to put too much on your plate, right? So that's basically how you set your goals for the year, right? So you take that 10-year goal, you go down to 1-year goal, down into 12 weeks in order to hit that goal. And now you're going to cut the calendar off. We're only doing a 3-month sprint, and we're going to get these things accomplished in 12 weeks. All right. So next thing that you want to do is to avoid procrastination. And one of the best things about this book is the ability to avoid procrastination. And you do that because once you have this plan established, and I'm going to show you how this looks later on, the actual the document that you can use and download to do this. But once you have this established, every week of the next 12 weeks has a plan attached to it. So you know what you need to do week 1, week 2, all the way up until week 12. Doing that, it sets you up so that there's no time for you to waste. So if you're planning a vacation and you're saying, hey, my kid's spring break is coming up, or I'm going to take a weekend vacation over one of these holidays that are coming up, President's Day or whatever. Now you got to start planning for that ahead of time because you've got stuff to accomplish that week. So that's great to help you avoid procrastination and plan ahead for what's coming up. Also, what you do is you have these goals put down to a scorecard, right? So what's a scorecard? If, for instance, your weekly goal is to write offers on 2 deals, right? Just an example. But if you only wrote offers on 1 deal, well, that means you hit 50% of your goal. Right. So you give yourself a score for each week. So out of all the things that you're supposed to do on that week, you have a scorecard for it. So if I'm supposed to talk to 3 brokers, or I'm supposed to analyze 4 deals, right? If you got 100%, that's great. If you only did half of it, that's 50%. But you're going to take score every week to know how you did. And that's going to give you a percentage. Are you functioning at 50%? Are you at 100%? Or are you somewhere in between? The goal of this, what they talk about in the book, is if you can have these goals, and if you are hitting 85% or more on all of those goals, then you're on track for having a successful year. If you're falling below 85%, you're off track and you need to regroup, figure out what you need to do, and make the necessary adjustments so that you can stay above 85% each week. As a bonus, I do this with an accountability partner. I would encourage everybody to have an accountability partner. If you're in the Facebook group, if you're on the Zoom call, you may be able to find someone else who's going to do this process. To send out a post to find somebody who can be your accountability partner. If you can't, you can also use, like I use my wife, right? She's got her goals, I've got my goals. But what we do is we set in a time. It's on my calendar every week, so that, hey, 11 o'clock on Monday, we're sitting down and we're going over our goals for the previous week. You could do it on Friday, you could do it on Monday. I like putting it at the end of a week or the beginning of a week, just to look over the past week to see how you did. Are you above 85% or are you not? And when you're able to verbalize that to somebody else, it just puts so much more responsibility in your hand. And now you have to own up to what you've said that you were going to accomplish. So I'm encouraged everybody, when you implement this, get an accountability partner, somebody to do it with you, and say, hey, we're no longer playing around. These next 12 weeks are going to be successful for us. And here's how we hold each other accountable and make it happen. All right. So with this, it puts in a certain level of discipline and accountability, forces you to plan ahead. And here is some tips, right? For being able to hold yourself accountable and stay disciplined, right? Putting it on your calendar, which I just mentioned, that's huge. Also celebrating your wins. So when you have every week planned out and you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish that week, celebrate it, right? Take yourself to a nice dinner, watch a good TV show. Those sort of things help you enjoy the journey. So it's not just like, hey, I want to make sure I have this big goal and I don't celebrate until I accomplish that. No, celebrate every week, because you're winning or losing every week, right? If you get to the end of a week and you have not accomplished your goals, analyze that, right? Did you make a good plan, right? And so I think that a lot of your success is going to be dependent on your plan. So you have to truly think about your plan. I've had this happen to me several times. You may say, I'm going to analyze, I'm going to write offers, send out LOIs on 3 deals a month. Let's say that's your goal. But do you have enough deal flow coming in to write offers, right? If you're analyzing 10-unit properties in your market, are you getting enough of those coming to you in order to be able to analyze them and write 3 offers? So if you don't have that, your goal may not need to be, hey, I am writing 3 offers a month. Your goal may need to be, I need to reach out to 10 brokers a week, right? So that you can talk to those 10 brokers, get on the list to have the deal flow. So I bring all that up to say, as you think about your plan, it shouldn't just be a real quick sort of 2-second thing. You say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. You need to think through that plan and say, like, all right, do I have everything set up in order to hit this goal? And then you readjust your plan accordingly, right? So you're going to use this system to track your progress, identify areas of weakness. So if you mess that up, and if you've done, like I've done several times, you set a goal and then you realize, hey, I needed another step or another thing pops up. This is great, a great system to use, because it allows you to make those mini adjustments. Hey, I'm in the middle of my 12-week year. I just found out that I can't buy an apartment of this size because I don't have enough investors in my database. Now I'm going to make the adjustment to put my focus on getting investors into my database in order to raise the capital so that I can hit my 12-week year goal, right? So constant adjustments are just going to be a part of it. And then, again, just to reiterate, celebrate your wins with this, right? So I want to encourage you, as I bring this into a close, right? I want to encourage you to pick up this resource, right? If you follow through what I've discussed in this 12-week year, I think that you will find this will be a great system to not only stop your procrastination, but to allow you to be able to measure your progress, make necessary adjustments, and be able to have a lot more success than what you've ever had previously if you put in a system to do this. So also, I want to give you the resource here. So I will let me share my screen so you can see the resource about how this is done. And let me share that right now. And I'll also drop this in the chat window for people who want it. All right, so you can just take this, download it, and get right to this URL. But the 12-week year, this is a picture of Brian Moran right now. He goes through here. This is what I talked about in the beginning, your long-term vision. This is really exciting, right? Thinking about what you want to accomplish over the next decade ago, who you want to be in life, what you want to accomplish, what's your aspirations, right? You then take that and have, based off of what you said your aspirations are, what are you going to do this year in the next 12 weeks in order to accomplish those things? And you write those 2 to 3 goals down right here, and then goes into your weekly actions. So, hey, this week I need to do X, Y, and Z. You fill all those things out. But this is a great resource for you to use. And I dropped the link in the chat. So you can take this, you could download this PDF and be able to start utilizing it right away. Also, it's got some examples in here about how you break all of this stuff down. But using this, I can't stress enough, using this has really been a game changer for me because it for one, it allows you to just stop thinking about something that's going to happen 6 months down the line and really get focused, narrowed in on what we're going to do in the next 12 weeks in order to have that happen. All right, so I'll drop this in Facebook as well. You can download that resource right there. And hopefully this has been a great setup to get you started for 2023. I encourage you to read the book, but you don't have to read the book. Honestly, if you just take that PDF and just follow through it, read through it, fill out the process, it will give you everything that you need. The book does have some great details. It does talk about some pitfalls. It's on Audible, so I would never discourage you from reading that. But if you're just jam-packed tight, you can take what you learned here today, take that PDF and get to work on it and start seeing how it works for you. So if you've listened to this, I highly encourage you to take action on it. Let me know, right? Drop something into the Facebook group, or just reach out to me an email, say, hey, this helped me, or it did not. And right now I'm going to wrap it up and we'll go through some questions. So any questions about what was discussed here, how to utilize this information, any of that? See, is there a replay of this? Sorry, you're at work. Yes. Quick Comfort Homes. I'll make sure that you are able to get a replay of this. So thank you for your comment. That anything, I'm looking on chat here. I do not see anything at all. If not, then hopefully you found this helpful. Utilize this and see if it makes a difference for you. What do you have to lose, right? You set it out one time, and if you do it and it works, great. If you don't, you got a better system, then you probably aren't even on this webinar right now, because you got a better system that's working for you. But those who are, I strongly encourage you to take note of this. So that's it. We're right at 30 minutes now. I wanted to start off the year with a great tool. I'm going to continue to bring items that I believe is valuable to you, to this group. If you want to utilize this, also in my private business where I help people buy apartments, we utilize systems like this in order to hold ourselves accountable as I walk you through the apartment investing business. If that's something that you're interested in and working with me and our team, then reach out to me about that. Also, snscapitalpartners.com. If you want to hear about our future investments, you can go there, fill out a form, and you'll hear about our investment opportunities for the year. Hey, I love y'all. Thank you for joining in today. I want to see you all have a very prosperous 2023. In any way I can help you, I will try to support the best way I know how. Take care, and until next week, have a good one. I'll see you then. Later.